Absolutely. You're here. Okay, is there anything else? Then I'm going to declare this meeting closed. Thank you everybody for coming, and I hope you continue to enjoy the virtual SEAPEX. Whatever comes our way in the future.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Eric. All right. Thank you, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
One quick plug to Eric.
Yep.
Over on Yahoo, I have my Yahoo page, Lefty Dundee, and I have the list of upcoming stamps for this year and the ones that have already been issued. I can send PDF copies of it to anybody for free. You can't sell it or use it in advertising because it's copyrighted by the post office. But the post office doesn't complain much about free advertising. If you would like to be a
Good morning.
Good morning. Hi.
It'll be just the three of us then.
No, we have another meeting that we're tying up here, so I've got two computers running.
Ooh.
date of the issue and whether it's on automatic distribution or not. Images of the stamp or stamps. Images of the count.
I really appreciate that SEAPEX decided to do this virtually, because I would never have been able to attend.
Well, I'm glad you were able to do this. This is wonderful. Yeah.
It is great. I'm a college professor down here, so I don't happen to teach on Fridays, which made yesterday work out very well.
Right.
It's something I could have juggled to travel to at all.
Well, that's what Lisa was saying in the other meeting. Yeah, she works, and so it's hard for her to do anything. So yeah, she didn't participate in yesterday's meetings because of work, but she's here right now.
Yay!
Hey, Lisa.
I will put the broadcast list for thank you back there.
I'm still on the other one, Lisa, because we're recording
Thank
it.
you. And with
So,
that,
yeah,
What's the other meeting?
ended.
the other
Carol,
meeting.
go ahead
What is it?
recording, and I will shut down the meeting.
Hello. The other meeting that's currently is the Northwest
Great.
Federation.
I've just started our next meeting, so thank you, everything. We'll see you guys later.
We'll see you. Thank you, everybody.
Not everybody's here yet, but that's
Nope.
fine. People were probably sitting and waiting in the waiting room. It's wonderful to see everybody's face.
Just
Thank
Judy.
you.
Okay. Women's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
More?
Hello, Kristen. I see you are here on the phone, no video.
I'm actually here on the computer, but no camera. I don't have a camera.
Okay.
Ah,
That's great to hear your voice.
Well, thank you.
Lisa,
Nice
we've
of
got
you guys to go to all this work trying to do an online stamp show. Funny that online you still have a show opening time and a show closing time.
hey, we got to make it fun a little bit. Come on.
Some of the other shows are doing 24 hours through a weekend. Some
Oh,
of
you
the
can
bigger
access
ones.
this 24 hours. Yeah. I mean, it does state that on the bottom of the schedule and stuff. Everything's accessible for 24 hours. We'll probably have everything up for about a month or so. And Lisa, you've got about 14 attendees. Well,
Woohoo.
15 if you count me, but I'm just the
You count.
moderator.
No, you're not. You're also the secretary.
Wait a minute. I'm
Oh, no,
secretary.
you're the membership chair. You're the membership
yeah.
chair.
Yeah,
I
please.
get all these clubs mixed up.
Yeah, I know. Okay, now
I
everybody's
have to
coming
change
in.
hats.
People are coming in from the other meetings. Hi,
Oh,
Basma. There's Judy
Hello, all.
and Judy. We got two Judys. Okay.
Just a quick question. I saw the meeting, and so I asked to attend, but I didn't know if it would be appropriate. I'm, not a member of the.
It's appropriate, more than
Okay.
appropriate. We're happy to have you.
Well, I don't want to intrude, but I also liked the idea of gals getting together and talking about what we do in terms of collecting and how we can share the word. I actually did an assignment in one of my college classes this past week. The class is Leadership and Communication. and I assigned each student a digital image I sent to them of a stamp that had a world leader on it. And they had to each speak for a few minutes about that leader and about why that person would be featured on a stamp of that nation, just as a way to introduce philately to students who would never have really been connected to it.
That's a great idea.
It was
Thank
fun.
you.
So, well, I've had some interesting feedback from students who expressed interest. And just yesterday, one student in another class talked about her collection of owls. And as it just so happened, some stamps I had ordered came in an envelope this week with the American owls on them. So I cut the cover and mailed it to her to offer her these owls as part of her new collection. So every little bit helps.
Yes, it does. Were all the stamps that you sent for the famous, they were all women on stamps?
No, I'm sorry, they weren't. but many of them were. So I tried to balance that for a variety of kinds of leaders.
Well, I can say, I have just a suggestion, the papers that they wrote or what they talked about the people, if any of them would like to send them to us, we would be happy to publish them in in our Women Expressions, We Expressions journal.
There wasn't a writing assignment, it was a
Talking?
presentation, although they had to create an outline. But I will certainly keep that in mind for future, the idea that we might have that other connection. That would be another way I could connect students and their work. That could be very cool.
Or could you give them extra credit if they were to write what they had presented? So they have the outline, but write a short article for the We Expressions?
I might be able to do that.
Hey, there we go. Thank you.
I'll give them even a free year's membership.
Well, wait, I better pay up for a membership first, don't you think? At least there's some connection. So you'll have to send me that information, or tell me where I'll be happy to put in a membership if you can tell me where to do that.
I can send it to you, Michelle, since I got your email here.
Awesome. Please do.
Does anyone have an update on the status of the team competition,
From
the AAPE?
no clue.
From my knowledge, they're doing the one frame Champion of Champions. They're still holding that. They're not doing the team competition. That was my last understanding. Because they said they were going to go forth with it. So we got more people because there were some changes. We said that, then I got notice they had an error on their part, and it was just the Champion of Champions one frame, but not the team competition.
Okay.
And I've not heard otherwise since then.
Too bad.
I know, so sad. It was the first year, this has been one of my goals for a while, and this was the first year we actually had a team of women exhibitors that we could represent and actually do it, and then it was canceled because of COVID. Boo.
We'll do it again. We'll do it again.
Hello, Larry.
Hello.
Are you staying safe away from the fires?
Well, the fire here basically was a 24-hour deal, but it took out over 1,500 homes or businesses. I was the evacuation notice, and I had stamps in my car, which I actually unloaded last night, and I wasn't even sure if I wanted to go out into our terrible air and even do that, but I wanted them back in the house so I could work on them.
You ready to get started, Lisa?
Oh, sure. We're missing.
Yeah, we're missing a few. Ann's still trying to get in. Sherry Jennings and Larry Mann. Then Laura Sachs and Joan Batesel Harmer. Those are the only three we're missing at the moment. 4. So
Okay.
while we're waiting, I am Carol Edholm, president of SEAPEX Virtual Stamp Show 2020. Welcome to the Women Exhibitors General Meeting. And I am just the moderator. Lisa will be doing the presenting. We are recording this, so if anybody has a problem with it, please let me know. If you're not speaking, go ahead and mute so you don't have background noise. I had to do that quite a bit in my last meeting because we have an elderly cat that is very needy. So, and then what I am learning to temporarily unmute yourself to make a statement is just hold your space bar down. And then when you're done speaking, release it and you're muted again. So any questions about the process? And if you have questions, you know, just unmute and ask Lisa.
For those on the phone, how do you mute and unmute, Kristen?
Well, Larry just doesn't speak.
Actually, you can use #6, but I'm on my computer. So.
Yeah. Okay. All right, we'll turn it over to Lisa and I'll let people in as they show up. Lisa, it's all yours. And you should be able to share if you've got anything to share.
I'm trying. I pushed the button. Nothing's happening. Oh, there we go. Sort of. And then it didn't work as a thingy blobber. Oh, there we go. Okay. Everybody can hear me? Oh,
Yep.
they're all muted. Okie dokie.
You mean you haven't updated this thing yet?
Now I have. What do you mean? Have I?
You can take my name off anytime.
Oh, well, you give you credit for doing it.
Thank you.
So thank you all for coming. It's great to see your smiling faces. And thanks to SEAPEX and Carol Edholm for hosting. Wow, what a year 2020 has been. As I was thinking about what to cover today, I was drawn to our purpose statement: to provide a vehicle through which women exhibitors can encourage each other through sharing information, ideas, experiences, advice, problems, and solutions. Encouragement and sharing. So you don't want to hear from me, I want to hear from you. So although it's a presentation, I would like you to talk throughout or put things in the chat box that we can discuss after, and I will be relatively quick. WeFest, the cancellation of WeFest 7 was very disappointed. We had great speakers lined up, lots of fun social activities. We had a complete team of exhibits to enter the one team frame competition for the first time. The literature competition is still going on, and We Expressions has been entered. The results will be in the January 2021 journal. Tim Barchi has graciously invited us to the Rocky Mountain Stamp Show in Colorado for 2022. And I'm going to need suggestions for 2024. Members have requested we hold WeFest more on the East Coast at this time. So,
Lisa, Rocky Mountain, is that the one that's at the middle to late May? ROMPEX?
yeah, I believe so. Yes, ROMPEX.
Okay.
Has Chicago PEX thought anything about hosting it? I mean, they missed out this year, but doing it in 2024. I know the Chicago, to me, it seems East Coast. I'm out here in California, but I know they're looking for something closer. But since the, like the Hartford show is going to be that year, I mean, the APS summer show in 2024 is going to be back in Hartford since they were canceled.
That's, yeah. I can ask. I mean, I'd be thrilled to just move everything over that we already did. That would be helpful. So I will look into that as well. For our philatelic publications, we had a successful project with the AP. But I'd like to find a way to further promote women and people of color in philatelic publications. I was hoping to get support from WU30, from the Writers Unit 30, as it is the only philatelic organization I know that assists with writing. I do not believe that is going to be possible. So I would like to create a resource for members who want to write for publication. It can be at any level, an article for a local club, regional, national, or to become a newsletter editor. We could have a pool of mentors. I would like to have articles on how to write for publication or presentations on YouTube. Any ideas would be greatly appreciated. My major in life is all in science. I am not an English major. I am not good at this. And I know we need more resources. For virtual exhibiting, the virtual stamp show, the awards were determined by attendee vote, included favorites, most attractive, educational, most unique, and the exhibit I would most like to own. There were some good exhibits, some really fun exhibits, some novice exhibits. The judging appeared to be well skewed, and I don't know if any attendees could vote once or multiple times. Chris McIntosh's gold winning exhibit, nor any of the exhibits entered by we members won any of the awards, even though I know we all voted for them. And the exhibits in this case were being, and the virtual stamp show, were able to be viewed page by page. They're still available for viewing, so you can go see them because there's like over 111 of them. SEAPEX, the exhibits are viewed with all the pages on one screen, so you can see the frame. The viewer can then click on each page individually to read the text, and the edges also of each page were outlined, whereas the virtual stamp show, it was white on white, so it was hard to see the page, and it made the outline made the pages clearly delineated. So other than the attendees' ability to vote for their favorite, at SEAPEX, is there any other judging or feedback?
No judging. We only had 7 weeks to put this together, so we decided not to bother with judging. And we had so many requests for voting for their favorite that we finally put up the vote for favorite. So be sure to go in and vote for your favorite exhibit.
As I get through this, I would like to discuss afterwards if anyone's exhibited virtually, and if so, how did it work? What challenges are there? Suggestions for improvement for both exhibitors and for show committees. I went through the SEAPEX exhibits. I was looking, title pages. Looking at the title pages, I see examples of different treatment for title pages. The majority have a philatelic item on the title page that draws the viewer in, begins the story. Both of these exhibits have a cover in which they fall in the topic purpose. Their cover matches the purpose of the exhibit. In here, Stephen's exhibit, the New Zealand prisoner of war mail air letter cards, in contrast, does not have a letter card, but a die proof of an air letter card. Daniel's exhibit on mail through the Richmond, Virginia, has a picture where the exhibit has a picture, right, versus in Virginia, and the whole exhibit is all covers. So in purpose, I was looking at the purpose statements that the exhibitors had. Carol's title page includes a clearly defined purpose statement. It's a study, introductory, so not all complete, of a specific item during a specific time frame. Eric's stated purpose is also very clear. The exhibit tells a story about Apollo 11, its launch, landing, return to Earth, immediate aftermath. It could add that it tells a story with the use of event covers. Otherwise, the judge may be looking for other items that will tell the story. He does note that covers are used to tell the story, though, in the scope. Oh well. Carol Costa's Scooby-Doo exhibit clearly states the purpose is to show how to have fun with exhibits. And on the last page, and it's a very fun exhibit. She did fulfill her purpose statement. Importance, philatelic importance. Philatelic text is this font. So right there it says philatelic importance. Philatelic fonts in this font. Thematic text is in this font. Rare items have a peach colored border. It is somewhat challenging with this exhibit online. The peach color doesn't really stand out and it's hard to find. which would be different than if we were in person in the frames. Dawn's exhibit has this cute cabbage patch icon to identify those important items, and it's identified on the title page. She does that. Her ostrich one has a little ostrich feather. They're all unique. She uses a unique icon for each of her exhibits. There's multiple opportunities for all of us coming up in the future to learn a lot and to have stamps exhibiting and collecting come to us. September 9th, Liz Heisey gave a presentation at the Collectors Club of New York. She's going to be giving it again in October, I just found out, for the ATA Fall into Topicals. They'll be doing a series in October for Stamp Collecting Month. It's also currently available. You can see it on the Collectors Club website, but they have multiple exhibits coming up that you can register that are free. You don't have to be a member. SEAPEX will be open around the clock with dealers and presentations. The presentation link is not currently up for what they are. Oops. The Institute for Analytical Philately Symposium 2020 talks include subjects such as microscopic structure of stamp paper, fibers and surfaces, quantitative color analysis, evolution of the ink and paper and stamps for the 1893 Columbia issues, and other scientific measurements related to philately. It would be beneficial, I think, to check it out, and if able to apply any of the principles that they discuss, it will increase your knowledge and or research score, but you have to register for theirs by September 30th. Bill of Virtue has exhibits online with a focus on India. There'll be dealers, webinars, presentations, and more. It's also open 24/7 and free to visitors. Postal History Symposium has lots of great speakers on postal history subjects. And the virtual stamp show, the exhibits are still visible, which I discussed. My presentation and Cheryl Gann's will be on C3, and the APS members are on the APS, the other ones are on the APS YouTube channel. The quarter, we had membership, it's quarterly journal. We are very, very happy to take any and all articles that people have regarding what you're doing, virtual exhibiting, covers, things that you're finding, checking in. Membership dues are $5 a year, free to use. Where's your we button? No one was wearing our we button. And these are currently, we just finished elections remotely. We had to do it virtually online. 51% of the membership voted, which I will then say it is we have been reelected, and this will be, so the same people through 2022. Positions are available. Anybody interested in the future, please let us know. So we'll have some open discussion, how to decide what to exhibit, how to find material for the exhibit, virtual exhibiting, what we can do for you. There you go. So who here did virtual exhibiting?
Well, I'll be doing that India virtual exhibiting. It just got accepted yesterday, so my India is going there. So it'll be interesting to see how it goes.
Okay, Marjorie, you did.
I did. I exhibited my single frame ranging and post office. I had a mix of single and double pages, but I scanned everything as double pages. I wasn't real satisfied where I had singles side by side. I think if I were to plan a virtual exhibit, I would do it all double pages. I think it just presents better. By the way, I'm taking Dana Gara up on her challenge to wear a philatelic tie. I have my return to sender on.
Hey, that's good. Carol, you also exhibited, you said virtually.
No, I will on the one that you just advertised. That's going to be in India in October. I'll plan on doing that, or unless you were talking to Carol Costa.
Yeah.
I did have a question. I did the Scooby exhibit and I ran into a problem after speaking to Vera, who knows about these things. She told me it was called scan shadow. And does anybody else run into that? And how do you eliminate that?
Well, that was a problem I was talking about also. So I'm going to eliminate it by just doing double pages. And
I was wondering if I should copy each page and then scan the copy, if that would help at all. Has anybody done anything like that?
Can you explain what scan shadow is?
If you look at my exhibit, I used cutouts from the post office package that came with the Scooby stamp to illustrate characters, especially if you look at that page, to illustrate the characters in the Scooby shows. And you can see where the cutouts were, the lines of the cutouts. And if you look closely, you can actually see it on other things. Now on the covers, I could eliminate it by using a backing, but I didn't bother since this was just a fun exhibit. So that's, you can just see the lines everywhere.
Well, I exhibited at the virtual show in South Africa. And it was interesting that they required, of course, scans to be sent in, but in that single frame exhibit, I have 2 double pages. So I was unable to scan them at home. I solved that problem by going to the copy shop and they had a scanner that could scan the double pages and, you know, put that on a flash drive and then submit the whole thing. And I was kind of wondering how easy or difficult, maybe Carol would know this, once all these scans are submitted, how difficult was it to put them into a frame format, which is what the show in South Africa did, and everyone could click on them individually, and it was, you know, easy for us to submit, but I'm wondering how difficult it was at the other end.
According to the webmaster, he said it really wasn't that difficult. There's not too much difference being a single 8.5 by 11 page to using the larger pages. What took the biggest amount of time for him to upload, you know, do the programming and upload everything was when the pages had a lot of little things on it. If you look at the Phasian Day Family of Birds exhibit, it has a ton of little tiny things in it and big things, and they're on larger size pages. And the way he did, I sat in on his presentation and how he built the pages for our exhibits for the website, and so that everybody could see close-ups of the individual items on each page. He scanned in each one of those, or programmed each one of those items on a page, and that's what took him the longest. Now the exhibits that just had covers, those were easy to do, but yeah, it's didn't make any difference to him from a single page to one of the double pages.
Liz Heisey is working on, after the Collectors Club meeting where she gave her presentation, it got off onto virtual exhibiting and the future of it, how this is going to look. Right now, we're taking your exhibits, you're scanning them, and they're putting them online. They were talking about being able to directly put the covers up online themselves and not having to mount them on paper, having videos in your exhibit, audio in your exhibit. They got off on some really far visions that potentially the future could hold. As we're discussing then, how do you prove you own the material that you're using? How would you judge it? What the judging criteria, if they're going to need to change for exhibiting online, virtually versus in person. And she is creating or trying to get together a committee for people that would be interested in looking at virtual exhibiting and all these complex aspects. So if anybody is interested, you can send her an email and let her know, and or send it to Women Exhibitors, and I will forward it on to her. It was quite interesting. There was a lot of very, what do I want to call them? I already had a name. They're traditionalists, philatelic traditionalists. But the doors are wide open. And women have been on the forefront of changing philately, changing exhibiting, changing what we could do. So I would like to have women represented on the committee. Not me, I'm not really a IT kind of person, but I don't know. So it sounds like fun.
Yeah, Liz did talk to me about that. When she found out we were having exhibits, she contacted me and she says, "Are you having judges?" And I says, "Am I fired yet?" But I says, "No, we're not having judges. With less than 7 weeks to put this on, it was just too much to worry about judges." But she has kept a close eye, as many other organizations have, on how SEAPEX is doing. And she wants to also talk to our webmaster about how he did the programming for exhibits on the site. And so she did sit in on his presentation. Larry Crane sat in on the presentation. And it's just, they're trying to find guidelines for exhibiting, for judging. And Carol, I'm sure she would be interested in hearing from you on your experience with South Africa and what they did. And so I have to write up a full report of how we did SEAPEX, and she'll be talking more to Bill on the exhibits, how he built the website and stuff. So yeah, they're willing definitely to talk to anybody who has experience on exhibiting virtually.
From a judging perspective, I have some concerns in that, one, it would be awesome to be able to sit at home beforehand to review and look at the whole exhibit rather than walking by and having only 5 seconds. You'll get a lot better feedback, I think, from the judges so that really have time to look at it. On the other hand, I'm not sure, there are some judges who, I don't know how many would really want to judge, knowing that much more time will be involved in doing it. So, and then what the stipend would be expected, etc. The benefit is we would get judges from all over, both internationally could attend. You'd get, where now we sort of get a lot of the same judges based on who's willing to fly to that area or be present. And so that you'll have experts in, if your exhibit is something unique and none of the current jury knows anything about what it is you're exhibiting, they know someone who does, they can contact them and have them come consult. Let's say if it was India, like they could call somebody, they'd insult, they'd come look at it online and say, "Oh yeah, no, it's really good, it's missing this, that, this," and assist them, which they don't really have that now currently with the current system.
And you still have the judges that were supposed to judge this year on tap for next year. Have they said anything about virtual judging?
No, because we haven't discussed anything. I just contacted them and say, "You want to do this next year?" And they said yes. So that's as far as we are.
Yeah, this the India exhibition contacted Liz originally and said they wanted judges for her to provide judges. She had to get judges. They still are trying to figure out how that works, how they're going to have their meeting. It seems like it would be easy, but it's much more complex than it seems to be. So I don't know if they'll, once they make a protocol, if all the judges will become like specialists. Like to be an ATA judge, you had to go through a specialty training historically. Now to be a virtual judge, if you'll have to have different training, we do not yet know.
So Lisa, if I could ask, those that have judged before, if you're doing a virtual, is there as much prep work involved? Like my understanding, and I've never been a judge, is that the exhibitor shows them the title page and writes a synopsis. And then they usually go off, the judges go off and look up material, do a little research on the topic, borrow books from different libraries to read up on it, so that when they get to the show where they know they only have, 5 minutes at an exhibit, that they already know the information. With virtual exhibits, they have more time to look at it. So I wonder if the prep is less, because now when they go, oh, I have a question, let me open the book. I'll look to see what I find, or even Google it. The internet is a great place to find information. So maybe less prep work, but more during the actual judging, there would be more.
Vesna,
Kristen,
Larry?
my response, although I'm not an APS judge, is that Kristen is right to a certain extent, because a lot of your research ahead of time, you may find out that it's not really relevant to the exhibit itself. So you would be able to, and I'm assuming you have, let's say, at least 3 weeks, if not more, to look ahead of time, so that you could look up specific things once you see the page. So I think on the one hand, it's less prep time before, but it may be a little bit more running around afterwards.
There's 3 judges here. Yeah, that is true, I think, because there's a lot of times that I get a title page, I get the synopsis, I do the research for that, then I get to the show, and what they're exhibiting is not at all what I thought I was going to see. It didn't match the title page, it didn't match the purpose, and I have to start all over again. So Vesma, what are your thoughts?
I'm thinking that the prep work would be about the same, but we would be more dependent on actually focusing on words on the pages as prepared by the exhibitor, and expecting more from those words, because we are actually reading them, instead of having so many seconds or a minute per page, we can actually take the time to pay attention to it. So the prep work might be a little bit less, but our expectations on what's on the pages would increase.
Lisa, I've not actually exhibited, though I've been preparing to do that for some time. As a non-exhibitor, when I think about the time you put into preparing a page and preparing your text and all, and you think, the judge is only going to get 5 seconds on this page, it feels good to me that the judge will have time to really.
Carol, on your exhibiting in South Africa, did they do any follow-up via Zoom or anything? Give you remarks on your exhibit?
Let's see, I'm the one who exhibited in South Africa. And so
Sorry, okay,
it's okay. So far, nothing has arrived via email, nor has anything arrived in physical mail. And we're not expecting any feedback other than the points that were published online. But that's yet to be seen.
Is it still, are the exhibits still visible?
As far as I know, they're not so easy to find because they're not under SAVPEX. They're under the South African Federation, and then a link that leads to a link.
Especially if they put the point systems next to the exhibit or with the exhibit as their results, it would be interesting to go look at them and see what they pointed at.
Right, I haven't really looked at the results in detail, but it's just generally struck me that the points were rather low for kind of an international regional show. There were very few 90s.
Why do you think that is?
Maybe, well, I have not looked at all the exhibits. Maybe the quality of the exhibits really was more in the 70s and 80s range, or maybe the judges just chose to be, pretty tough.
I would have thought potentially, now I may be way off, but if people were doing virtual for the first time and you want to encourage people to be virtually exhibiting, they would have got higher awards. And your exhibits always do well in the higher points.
Well, I was happy with the 89 because that's, it was among the higher range. But we really should ask Kathy Johnson, and she was the U.S. representative and the U.S. judge. And, we could get information from her. Maybe she could write a few paragraphs, about the show for our next newsletter. From the perspective of judging.
Yeah, that's a short timeline to hold her to, but if not this one, then by the January one. But yeah, I will ask her.
I'd love to make a comment about that. As a person who never exhibited, I'm exploring what that's about, and I'm a total neophyte. I'd love to know more, and the idea of hearing from a judge in the newsletter and getting some ideas from someone about the specifics would be super helpful, just to know more and be able to plan your own exhibit. I also like the idea of more feedback, and it would seem to me that this concept of maybe some specialized training coming along because of the new virtual exhibit modality would be warranted. I teach for a community college here in Southern California, and when we went virtual for all of our classes starting last March, and our college aggressively addressed this launch into the virtual environment with a great deal of training for faculty to enhance teaching in the virtual environment, which made a huge difference for a lot of people. I'd done hybrid teaching with other institutions, so it wasn't foreign to me, but for some people who had never done it, just like some people who have exhibited but never done much virtually, it would be really helpful to get that kind of training. So I'm hoping somebody's thinking about those things. The more we can educate people about the different processes, I think the stronger the quality of both the exhibits and the judging will be. So here, if you can get somebody to write some information about that, I would read it with great anticipation.
Well, those of you that have exhibited virtually are the experts now, and you heard it here. So yes, we'd love you to write up something about your experience. And if you can figure out anything about how to eliminate scan shadow, that would be probably beneficial to everybody.
Okay, Lisa, I was looking through my chats with the fellow who is exhibiting the Phasian Bird of family of birds on SEAPEX there. He just had that at Bangladesh show and earned a gold. They did feedback via virtual Zoom, and they also put up a chart with his scores for each part of his, each of the, his descriptions, his thematic research, his layouts and stuff. So he was able to, through the Zoom meeting, get feedback from one of the judges, and then also see his scores for each part. And that's what I was looking to see if they had done that yet, Vesma. But apparently they hadn't done it yet then, huh? So that's something that we can also look forward to, is feedback and showing scores via Zoom meetings.
Yeah, you bring up a great thing, Carol, because with the virtual, they can also, when they highlight, on frame 3, page 9, you have this. You know how judges will comment that way? And you're like, oh, quick, write that down. And then you go up to the exhibit and you look at what they talked about. Here, they'll actually be able to bring up the page. It'll add to the feedback for all of us, even not the exhibitor, someone who wants to learn from someone else's exhibit. They'll also be able to learn. Great opportunity.
And they did that. They actually did that because he sent me the link to the video so I could watch their comments and his scores on it, because Phasian Day, it's PFAL are part of the Phasian Day. And so we have a lot in common there. So it was really interesting to see the feedback and to see what they were pointing out, and then to see all his scores. He was only 2 points away from a large gold. Darn.
Did they give him feedback, or the feedback that he got, would it raise it 2 points?
Yeah, I think it would. Yeah, it really looked like it. He got some good feedback. So it's just a matter of probably, like somebody said, a little bit more extra time for after the judging is done, you know, to put these charts together, get it up so they can show everything on a Zoom presentation. But it looked like it was well done. But I do know that some of the international shows overseas, they've been doing virtual exhibiting for several years at least. This is not his first time he's done a virtual. He did one last year and another one a couple of years ago.
Silence.
I found something looking at my exhibit that's in SEAPEX. It's a lot easier to proofread your exhibit. I didn't know I had missed things when I first did it. And I reread it and reread it and reread it. It just seems to be easier to read it when it's right there in front of your face and you can, yeah. I don't know if it'd be that way for other people or not, but it was for me.
Our show is kind of unique. What Larry and I found out from the Bill Seymour's presentation yesterday on building the exhibit pages for our site. He went to a lot of time and care on how he built those pages. And there was another gentleman in the meeting from California who really got on Bill's case about, you don't need to do all that. You don't need to do this. So-and-so did this, so-and-so did that. But you can tell the difference between their exhibit. Well, like the differences you were pointing out, Lisa, between APS and ours. We've got the boxes around our pages. We've got all the pages out in a single frame. And now, like Ann said, you can zoom in and proofread it. And so I would rather have a webmaster that takes the time and the care to do what he did for our site than what some of the others are. And there's a variety of ways for programming, but lots of kudos to our webmaster.
Yeah,
Amen.
You had less exhibits. Virtual Stamp Show also put theirs together in a very short time, and they had 111 exhibits, some multi-frame. So that also, they were booking.
But a few of theirs were only one page also.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah. We decided to limit to 5 frames or less simply because of the time constraints. And, you know, we knew it'd take time to plug these in. If we had to do this route again in the future, hopefully we would have more time.
One question I also have would be, as I remember, we went to Kristen's class on mounting in your exhibit large items, oversized items, or 3-dimensional items, putting coins in, etc. How would this work when how do you scan it virtually so that it goes in and shows up?
So I don't know about exhibiting because I haven't done a virtual exhibit, but on the flip side, I sell on eBay and I sell coins on eBay and all that. And you can certainly take a camera picture. That's another way of doing it, but coins scan really well on a scanner. I just put them down. Sometimes the difference between the size of a coin, even a deck, I bet you I could scan when I had playing card decks in my exhibit. I could have faced it down and you still could have seen the text. There would be some shadowing, as someone mentioned before, but this was due to a 1/4-inch thick deck of stamps.
So you would scan the deck of playing cards and then put the scanned picture on the page rather than the deck itself on the page as we do currently?
Actually, I was not thinking that way, but that is a great suggestion. I like that one because yes, that wouldn't give me the shadowing effect versus taking the page that I currently have with the deck mounted was how I was thinking and then scanning that, but I would have shadowing. Your idea works a lot better. And maybe that's what everyone needs to do if they have a three-dimensional item. Scan the item itself and then use that image and place it into your other page flat, right? It's just a picture, and then scan that whole page.
We would have to have something in the synopsis or on the title page, a little star that you'd put next to it, scanned item in collection. Like when there were really big items, they'd say it would be in the back, like the certificate to prove that the item was worth a lot. We'd put it in the back of the exhibit. So if the judge had doubts, they could open it up and take a look at the exhibit, the certification. Does that make sense? We'd have to have some star. This is scanned, but exists in the
Right.
exhibit.
And you know, Lisa, with Liz's presentation, when they were talking about virtual, the big thing was, do you own the material? And one guy was very adamant that he could put together an entire exhibit and no one would know he didn't own that material. Because scanning, photographing, all that, Photoshop, altering of images can be done without anyone noticing it. And I believe him. I think he could probably produce a really nice one that looked like he owned all the material. So yeah, I think little explanations, like you said, need to go into it.
And my covers are from the 1800s. I'm thinking some of my edges that are torn or parts that have pencil on them, I could erase them beautifully in Photoshop and make my edges look crisp.
And I think that's what they fear, because you're supposed to be judged on the material. Obviously, that period material is supposed to be damaged, so they shouldn't be docking you too much on the edges.
Any other thoughts on this subject? Are we excited? Is this a good thing? I think the virtual, I'm very sorry that I'm working full time and out of the home, because there's all these exciting stamp shows, things. A lot of them are on the East Coast. They're way too early in the morning. Some are in Europe. They're at 2 a.m. But a lot of things are occurring while I'm at work. And I'm like, I want to go. I want to go. But it has been fun. I think it's financially, for at least us, not having to go places and pay for things to go. But I'm not sure how then people will make money. But it also reaches out to much larger audience. I think we'll get a lot more people in stamp collecting. I know the APS, after the virtual stamp show, got a lot of members that signed up, that they reached out to a lot of people. We got more members as a result also.
Is there a central listing of shows? Because the shows that you've mentioned have all piqued my curiosity. And of course, I hadn't heard of many of them. And I wondered if there was a place you can go and find out where these different regional shows are or when they're held.
I think the APS is working on making a show schedule. I'm going to list them all that I can in our newsletter, but I haven't seen any. I personally find them in varying places, Facebook, clubs I belong to. It is challenging. Some of them, like our newsletters, is only quarterly, and then they're coming up at very short time frames. They don't have a lot of planning time. They're sort of going, voila, here we are. For club meetings, the APS, I know, is asking all clubs to send in when their club meetings are and how to attend them and to go to them. They haven't had a lot yet listed, but they have some.
And if I could add something, Lisa, to that, Sequoia Stamp Club that's on the West Coast, we did that about 2 months ago, and now one of our new members is from New Jersey. And we asked why he came from so far. He said, well, I didn't have anything to do Tuesday night. So he joined our meeting and then joined the club.
So it works.
Yeah, absolutely.
For Michelle, let me put an announcement in for the WinePEX virtual stamp show in 3 weeks, the first weekend in October. For judging and so on, don't look at it for that because they have limited this one to 4 to 6 pages, but it will give lots of ideas of things to collect and things to work with, and I'm sure innovative ideas that people have done for exhibiting. So that's WinePEX out of San Rafael, California, and it is October 3, 4, and 5, I think. First weekend, anyway, of October.
Are they still accepting exhibits?
The last time I checked the site, they were not full, so possibly yes. And get through it maybe through the Redwood Empire Stamp Club by going through their club webpage. So I think a search for that should give you Redwood Empire Stamp Club.
Yeah, Larry, on their website, it says the deadline for exhibit submission is September 15th.
Oh, that's
Hey,
close.
good.
It's hard. This is the challenge, is that there are places to exhibit, but we don't know where or when. The call out to exhibits for exhibits is not reaching everybody. Because this is the first I've heard of it. Not that I hear a lot, but I'm just saying.
Well, thanks for letting me know. That'll be a great place to check out and see examples.
Well, Michelle, when you join Women Exhibitors, I'll have your address and I can add you to the SEAPEX mailing list. So you'll get, you know, our show information. I can send it to Larry and he can send you a sample of the Federation newsletter, which will list shows. And then Larry, is there subscription information in with that journal?
Yes, I could actually add her to the mailing list for the journal.
Okay, and then Lisa will also have that information. She can add you to the Evergreen Stamp Club shows. There's 2 shows a year. So we'll get you some information and eventually your address will spread out to other shows and maybe you find a couple of dealers you like and they'll send you postcards if they do mailings.
Now you're speaking my language.
Yeah, I do not know. The Evergreen Stamp Show, our biggest show, is April, and I'm not sure at this time whether we'll be able to hold it. It doesn't look very promising. Hopefully the July exhibition will still go on, but it's not promising in Washington State. We're still in phase 2. We'll need to be a minimum in phase 4, and I don't see that happening, but we can hope.
So does that mean you're going to go virtual in April?
No.
Oh, please. It would be awesome. I'm telling you, this has opened for me a whole new level of being able to participate from somebody who mostly only read about events to literally being able to participate. And that's been a thrill. And some of the other things folks are saying about how it not only expands our opportunity for membership from people from afar who might share a common interest and have a new way to connect, but it also creates a pool of talent, because now you're not looking for only local talent. There are many, many advantages. I can tell you that just from the education aspect, going virtual because we had to is changing the face of how we will offer education moving forward. And I'd like to think that's going to also happen in philately. This is going to change the opportunity to interact and engage. And that's one of the things that we do as people involved in this hobby. One of the great joys is engagement. This is creating an opportunity to engage at a whole new level. And so I believe that this is going to change the way we do things. We might as well be looking virtually anyway.
Well, thank you very much. We were thrilled to have you here and have you as a new addition to the organization. I just realized it's 10:57, so we're going to have to sign off. Otherwise, I know we haven't seen each other in so long, we could go on for hours. So it's great to see you. I hope to see you at other meetings at SEAPEX today and in the future. And good luck in your exhibiting.
Thank you, everybody. It was good seeing you and good meeting you, Michelle.
Bye.
Bye.
Take care, everyone.
All right, thanks.
Have a good one, everyone.
You too.